Hello students, moving further, we will study the transformation of sentences and to proceed further, first we will discuss about the kinds of sentences based on the structure. Earlier we have seen that there are four kind of sentences are there, that is assertive sentences, interrogative sentences, exclamatory sentences and imperative sentences. But today in this lesson we will study the kinds of sentences which are based on the structure. So now there are majorly three kinds of sentences are there, that is simple, compound and complex sentences. We will not go in detail, but we will briefly revise all the things because it is very important to know which kind of sentences are simple, compound or complex. Okay, so basically simple sentence has a one verb which is written over here. It has a one verb, one predicate. Okay, so that is what the simple sentence. In compound sentence it has two verbs. It has two verbs, but what is this formula is written we will see, but let's see the complex sentence, how many verbs it has. It has also two verbs or more than two verbs. Okay, now how we can see that which sentence is compound or which sentence is complex. So we will need this helpline. This is the don't worry, it's not a math formula. Okay, now if both of compound sentence has two verb, now from two verb one is equal to one verb, that means the importance of this one verb is equal to this one, so both of them are as much important as the other one, right? So importance of both the verbs is equal, that is the reason I have written here 1 is equal to 1. Now if we talk about complex sentence, then in complex sentence one verb is greater than another verb, so importance of the one verb is greater than the other verb, so that is what the complex sentence. We will see how it works, which kind of formula it is. You will definitely get it if I explain further. First, let's see simple sentence. Now there is only one verb in this sentence, one verb, one predicate is there. Okay, so example is birds fly. Fly is a verb, one verb is here, other thing subject is there, right? Next is students in uniform walk down the road. Students in the uniform walk down the road. Now if you can observe, there is one verb, walk down, right? So only one verb is there, so we can say it's a simple sentence. Now there are certain non-verbs which are very confusing, and students or we people always get confused that whether it is a verb or not. So they are non-verbs. There are certain non-verbs, they looks like a verb but they are not. Which non-verbs are they which are used in the simple sentence also? Okay, first is gerunds. Now gerunds like driving, traveling, so these are the gerunds. Now how does it work? It works as a subject. Gerunds works as a subject in certain sentences. We call it gerunds. For example, smiling is a good exercise. Now if you observe here, smiling stands here as a subject. It is not verb here. The verb is here, that is. So don't get confused over here. Next, let's see the another example. He loves walking his dog in the garden. He loves walking his dog in the garden. Now he is the subject here. Loves is verb here. Now walking, it's not a verb. Walking his dog. Now it acts as an object here. What he loves? Walking his dog in the garden. Right? So it works as the object and it works as a subject. That is what gerunds. They are not verb at all. Now second is most confusing. Verb or non-verbs, they are called they are present participle. Traveling, driving, so that kind of thing. Now you might find that gerunds and present participles both are similar kind of thing. Look at the example. Traveling is my hobby. Okay, it works as a gerund also. So present participle. Now one thing you have to keep it in your mind, that how we can find that it is used as a present participle or it is used as a verb. If you find before this ing form of any kind of verb, if you find to be form of any present participle, past participle or future, that is am, is, are, was, were or will be, shall be, if you find this kind of thing, then it is verb. If you don't find this to be form of any tense, that means it is a present participle. It is not a verb. Okay, next is past participle. Now we generally use this past participle in the past perfect tense. Right? Now look at this word: shaken, taken. Okay, so these are the past participle V3 form. Right? Now again the same thing. If you don't find had, have, has before this V3 or before this past participle, then if you find it, then it is the verb form. If you don't find it, then it is just a past participle using in a simple sentence. Shaken with the thought of losing his mother, he cried. Now look at this sentence: shaken with the thought of losing his mother. It's a phrase, and there are certain phrases which are made from present participle, which we can make from past participle, and this is one of them. Right? And the main sentence is he cried. Now cried is a verb here, so only one verb is here, that is cried, not a shaken. I'm sorry. Next is infinitives. Now infinitives, that is 2 plus 2 is used as a 2 is infinitive, and after 2 always V1 come. Okay, so 2 plus verb or V1, that is what infinitives. Whenever you find this 2 plus V1, don't consider it as a verb. They are infinitives. I like to study. Now observe this, look at this example. Like, I is the subject, like it is the verb, and to study, it is not the another verb, it is infinitive, use of infinitive. Okay, so these 4 kinds of non-verbs are there, which make simple sentences, which are generally used in the simple sentences, but they are not the verb itself. Okay, next, compound sentence. Now in compound sentence there are 2 verbs, as we talk, 1 is equal to 1. There are 2 or more than 2 sentences or principal or main clause which are joined by a coordinating or a correlative conjunctions. It is most important. Now there are 2 or more than 2. If 2 verbs are there, then 1 is equal to 1, or more than 2. If there are 3 verbs, then also 1 plus 1 is equal to 1 is equal to 1. So 3 of them works in a same manner. Okay, now generally we form these compound sentences with the help of coordinating or the correlative conjunctions. Coordinating or the correlative conjunctions. Now, which are the coordinating or correlative conjunctions? First, let's see the coordinating conjunctions. Very you can easily memorize with this simple acronym, that is fanboys. Fanboys. F stands for A for and for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. It's very simple. Fanboys, if you remember this, you will definitely know the you will definitely get this conjunctions. These are called coordinating conjunctions. So wherever you find these coordinating conjunctions, that means the sentence is the compound sentence. Next, correlative conjunctions, that are either or, neither nor, not only but also, both and, as well as, or else, whether or, etc. So many others are there, which are correlative conjunctions. Okay, so if you find the use of these, then also we can say that it is the example of compound sentence. Now let's see the example of it. You should work hard or you will face the difficulty. You should work hard or you will face the difficulty. Now these both are the sentences or principal clause we can say, and they are joined with the help of or conjunctions, which is the which comes under these correlative coordinating conjunctions. Right, now look at these sentences. You should work hard. Now if I won't see this sentence, if I cut these sentences, you then read it again. You should work hard. It makes complete sense. No, that yes, you should work hard. It is the sentence itself. It makes complete sense. This is what called principal clause or a main clause or a sentence. Now, again, look at this another example. Remaining stuff, that is, you will face the difficulty. Another sentence, remaining stuff, you will face the difficulty. Now again, there is a verb, there is a subject, other predicate is there, so it makes complete sense. So both the sentences are independent. If I wanted to use both of them independently, then also it works. If I want to combine it with the help of coordinating conjunctions, then also it makes complete sense. So I have what I have did here, I have used this coordinating conjunctions to combine these sentences, both these sentences. These are called compound sentence. Let's see the next example. Night came on and rain fell heavily and we will got very wet. Now three sentences are there. How you can find it? If subject and verb is there, that means it's a sentence. If it makes complete sense, then it's a sentence. Now let's see. Night, subject, came on, verb, it's a conjunctions, and is a conjunctions. Here again and is used. Okay, rain fell heavily. Rain is a subject, fell is a verb, heavily it's a adverb. Okay, we subject, we all subject, got verb, very wet. Okay, now if I want to liberate all the if I want to read one sentences, then also it makes. Night came, it's a complete sentence. Night came, okay, fine. Rain fell heavily, this is again a principal sentence. This is again main clause or a sentence. It also makes sense. We all got very wet, again this also makes sense. So they are combined with the help of these conjunctions. Okay, and each of these sets, each of this group of set of words makes complete sense. So they are called compound sentence. Hope you got it. We'll see next complex sentences. Now look at this name, complex. Seriously, it is a complex. Anyways, let's see. There are two or more than two verbs. again two or more than two verbs. There are more than one clause and one clause dependent, that is subordinate on the other main principal clause, are joined together by subordinating conjunctions. Okay, let's go line by line. First thing that comes here, that there are two or more than two verbs. Okay, in compound also there are two verbs or more than two verbs. Here also we have two verbs or more than two verbs. The difference is that in compound there is one is equal to one, but here one is greater than one. How it is depicted here? So there are more than one clause. Okay, in compound also more than one clauses are there, right? Okay, so what new? One clause, but the thing is that one clause depended on the other main clause, which we can say principal clause. So there is one clause which is dependent on the other main clause. So that is the reason we said that one is greater, that is the reason that I said that one is greater than one. So one verb makes so much, one is more important than other, and which means this other one is dependent completely on this one verb, if it can't stand alone. Now what is clause? Now clause is a group of words that have a subject and a predicate. What is clause? Clause is a group of words that have subject and a predicate. That is what clause. If it has a subject, it has a predicate, that means it's a verb. Now one more important thing here you have to keep it in your mind, that is complex sentences are joined together by the subordinating conjunctions. Now three types of conjunctions are there, that is coordinating, correlative and subordinating. Now in simple sentence we won't use any kind of conjunctions. We can use those non-verbs, that is gerunds, present participles, past participles or infinitive. But in compound sentence we use two types of conjunctions, that is coordinating and correlative. In complex we use subordinating conjunctions. Why we are using subordinating conjunctions? Because this subordinating clause or subordinate clause or a dependent clause which depended on this main clause or the principal clause, and that is the reason we need subordinating conjunction. Now which are the independent or principal clause? I have mentioned here main or principal clause, right? So what is it, main or principal clause? So it expresses a complete thought and can stand alone as a sentence. It expresses a complete thought and can stand alone as a sentence. Earlier we have seen the example that night came on and rain fell, right? So night came on. Now night came on is a complete sentence. It makes complete sense. It doesn't require any other information. Okay, so that is what independent or the principal clause. Now what is subordinate clause? Now subordinate clause, it depends on the other parts of the sentence to express a complete thought. It depends on the other part of sentence to express its complete thought. For example, when the teacher came, now look at this sentence, when the teacher came. Now subject is there, the teacher came, verb is there. We can say if there is a subject and verb, then we can say it's a sentence. We can frame with the help of these two things, two parts of speech. We can frame the sentence. It can express the complete sense. But here something is missing. That is, when the teacher came, then what happened? When the teacher came, then what happened? The question arises in our mind. So that is the reason these are called subordinating clause. It needs some answers. They are dependent on this principal clause or the main clause. So that's it. Now there are there are three kinds of clauses are there. That is noun clause, adjective clause, or adverb clause. There are three types of subordinate clause: noun, adjective, and adverb. Now in noun, it asks the question what. Noun clause, it asks the question what, and it answers with the that. For example, if we say that she hoped that she would win the first prize. She hoped that she would win the first prize. Now I have used that. She hoped. What she is hoping? That she would win the prize. Now it is the example of the noun clause. Okay, it answers with that, and it questions what. Next is adjective clause. Now adjective ask the question with who or which. Adjective asks the question with who or which, and it answers with who, which, or that. For example, he is a man of his word. Okay, he is a man of his word. Now look at this sentence. He is a man. We are talking about man. Which man? Of his word, who keeps his words. We are talking about that kind of man. So it is the example of adjective clause. We are talking about a man. Which man? Who keeps his words. Let's see the next subordinate clause. That is adverb clause. Now there are 6 types of adverb clause. That is adverb clause of manner, adverb clause of reason, adverb clause of place, adverb clause of time, adverb clause of condition, and adverb clause of concession. So these are 6 types of adverb clause. Okay, now manner. How? It asks the question with how. How one's manner is. As if. He walks as if he is the king. He walks as if he is the king. How he walks as if he is the king. How she walks as if she is whatever the situation. How she talks as if she is the nightingale. Right? So this kind of questions, this kind of answer it gives. Next is reason, adverb clause of reason. So it asks the question why, and it gives the answer with because. For example, he was absent because he was ill. He was absent. Why he was absent? Because he was ill. So it answers with the help of it gives the answer with the help of because. Next is place, where, and obviously it answers with the where. For example, he was sitting at the place where no one dared to come. he was sitting at the place where no one dared to come. So now the place is described, that which kind of place, where he was sitting. He was sitting where no one dares to come. So that kind of answer it gives. Next is adverb clause of time. It gives, of course, to ask time we need the help of when, and it gives the answer with these words: when, before, after, as soon as the teacher arrive, the students stand up on that seat. So that kind of answer: when the teacher came, the students stand up. Okay, so that kind of answer it gives. Next is condition. If what, we ask the question with if what, and it answer with the help of if you do this, you you will get rewarded. That kind of. Although concessions, it asks with we ask these it asks the question although or what, and of course it gives the answer with although he was smart, he did a very foolish mistake. That kind of sentence it makes. Now, subordinating conjunctions. As earlier I told you that complex sentences are made with the help of subordinating conjunctions. Now, which subordinating sentences are used to frame complex sentences? So these are the list of it: when, whenever, where, whereas, wherever, while, still, until, unless, if only, even if, even though, in order to, now that, rather than, because, since, that, after, though, although, as if, as soon as though, as soon as, again it's repeated. Okay, so that, and so on. So these are the number of list it is there. You can use any of these conjunctions to frame the compound sentence. Now if you don't remember these words, then some of them are very easily you can remember. That is one thing, one tip I can give you, that is use of wh word. Wherever you find wh conjunctions to join the sentence, is not to ask the question, but to join the sentences. If you find this wh word, then it is the surely the example of complex sentences. Okay, the first tip it is that. Another thing, that is use of conditional conjunctions: if, unless, if only, even though. Use of reason, that is because, though, although, as, since. So these gives as, since, because. This gives the reason for. Okay, but for is not the subordinating, it is coordinating, right? So we will not use for. So this it gives the reason, it gives the reason. So these kind of tips you can keep it in your mind, and you can memorize these all subordinating conjunctions. Now let's see some of the example of complex sentences which are where you will find these subordinating conjunctions. First example: they rested when evening came. They rested when evening came. Adverb clause of time, you can see. The time is given. They rested. When they rested, evening came. Now look at this. When evening came, they rested. So this sentence is completely dependent on this sentence. This it is called subordinate clause, which is dependent on the principal or the main clause or the other independent sentence, that is they rested. Now if I say they rested, okay, it makes complete sense, it doesn't require any other words. But look at the another sentence, that is evening came, or the when the evening came. Now when evening came, then what happened? Okay, then what happened? So the question arises in our mind, that then what happened? So to answer this, we require the other set of words, the main clause or the principal clause. That is the reason it is the subordinate clause, and it is the example of complex sentence. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I think next. Okay, next example. because I was ill, I didn't go to school. Because I was ill, I didn't go to school. Now look at this. Because I was ill. Then what? Why? Because you were ill, so what? What happened? I didn't go to school. Now if I cut this, I didn't go to school, the remaining sentence would be I didn't go to school. It makes complete sense. It doesn't require anything. But this sentence, the earlier one, that is because I was ill, it requires some explanations, and which came from the second sentence, second part of sentence. So that is what the complex sentence. Let's see the next. If you disturb me, I shall have to punish you. If you disturb me, I shall have to punish you. Now look at this. If you disturb me, if you disturb me, so what? We require this sentence, I shall have to punish you. So it can make complete sense. So that is what one is greater than one. It is here in this sentence, it is greater than this one. In the earlier sentence, same thing, the second part is greater. In the first sentence, the first part is greater than this. Okay, I hope you understand what is simple, compound or complex sentences. Now we'll see the main part of this transformation of sentences. First we'll convert these simple sentences into compound sentences. I think this basic information is really necessary, otherwise I won't include it here to make the video more long. Hope you understand it. Okay, so there is a tips or a note which is on your right side in a black box, that is to change simple into compound sentence, use coordinating or correlative conjunctions. That earlier we studied, that if you want to frame a compound sentence, you require these two conjunctions, coordinating or a correlative. You can use any of them to frame the compound sentences. Okay, so let's see the simple sentences, and we will try to convert into compound sentences. Now one thing I would like to tell you guys, that there is no technical method. In the earlier part also, there were certain kinds of transformations where you won't find a technical, complete practical method. You have to use your brain, you have to use your mind, and then you can convert the sentences. So but there are certain helps, certain notes or tips which are available. You can use it to frame your sentences. Okay, let's see the first sentence. She came here to see me. She came here to see me. Now she is the subject, came again verb. Here it gave other words, it gives the place. And to see me, again look at this word, to see. Now don't get confused, it is not the verb, it is use of infinitives. It is the use of infinitive, as I told you, to see me. Here came is the verb, to see is not the verb, it is the infinitive, use of infinitive. So don't get confused, it is the completely example of simple sentence. Now we have to convert this simple sentence into the compound one. Now look at this sentence. If infinitive is given here, you will probably use this infinitive verb as the second verb, because to frame the compound sentence we require two or more than two verbs. So first is came, second is see. We have two verbs. We can get the help of it and we can frame it. Now what is the sentence? She came here to see me. She came here to see me. We can use fanboys, we can use correlative conjunctions. You will definitely get the idea once you read the sentence how to frame this. Now two actions are being done here. She came She came to see me. So two actions are there. She came to see me. We can say that she came here. That is our first sentence. She came here and she saw me. We can say so. But of course she has seen him because she came here only to see me. So we can say that she came here she came here and she saw me. Why I have transformed this so into see? Let's see the answer. She came here and she saw me. You can also escape this word. She came here and saw me. Okay, both of the sentences are both of the examples are correct. Now why I have transformed so see into so? Because whenever we use infinitive, then the verb which is next to infinitive, it always comes in the root form or the V1 form, right? Don't forget that. Now here, what is the reason? Look at this first verb, that is came. We are talking about past, and that is even simple past tense. So that is the reason. So past form of see is so. So that's why I have used so instead of see. Okay, let's see the next. In spite of his work, the boy didn't succeed. In spite of his hard work, the boy didn't succeed. Now again, wherever you see this in spite of, it is the definitely example of the simple sentence. Okay, you can also use this in spite of to frame the simple sentence while you will get the answer as questions that convert this into simple, then you can use it. Okay, so in spite of his hard work, the boy didn't succeed. Now which is the verb here? Didn't succeed, the verb. Now in spite of his hard work, someone is working. Now look at this hard work. In spite of his hard work, we can use this work as a verb also. Yes, of course. Work is also, we can use work as a verb. So we have two verbs here, didn't succeed and work. So we can also interchange the this sentence. We can also put it in the front, and we can use the first sentence at the last. Depend. Okay, in spite of his hard work, so the boy is very hardworking and still he didn't succeed. So we have to frame now if you see this word, this is the boy is hardworking and the boy didn't succeed. Now it is two contradictory ideas are presented here in the one sentence. So obviously we can go with the but. The boy didn't the boy worked hard but he didn't succeed. The boy worked hard but he didn't succeed. Okay, very simple. The boy worked hard but he didn't succeed. We are saying the same thing now. In spite of his hard work, the boy didn't succeed. The boy worked hard but he didn't succeed. Again, as I told you, transformation is all that you have to hold your ear not with the right hand but with the left by crossing your hand on the left side. So that's what the transformation. Let's see the next example. Completing their work for the day, the carpenters went home. Completing their work for the day, the carpenters went home. Again, look at this word completing. Now it is a use of gerund or present participle, any one of them, right? It is not the verb, but as we have to form into compound, we can use it as a verb. Let's see the main verb here. What is it? Went. So we have two verbs completing their work for the day. The carpenters went home. Two actions are there. That is the carpenters completed their work and they went home. See, we have made the answer. The carpenters completed their works and went home. Let's see the answer. Am I right or wrong? The carpenters completed their works and went home. Same thing, right? It's so easy. Let's see the next example. The teacher punished the boy for his disobedience. The teacher punished the boy for his disobedience. Punished, one verb. Now, why the teacher punished? Because the boy was disobedient. Why did the teacher punish? Because the boy was disobedient. So we can say that the boy was disobedient, and so the teacher punished. That is what the reason. Na boy was disobedient, so the teacher punished. Okay, so where is the coordinating or correlative conjunctions? We can use and here. The boy was disobedient, and so the teacher punished. Now let's see the answer. The boy was disobedient, and so the teacher punished. If I use that the teacher punished the boy because he was disobedient, then it will become the example of complex. So one thing, you just keep it in your mind that don't mix up with compound or complex sentence. Compound sentences are framed with the help of correlative or coordinating conjunctions only. Don't go with the subordinating conjunctions. Okay, subordinating conjunctions you will find because, as, since, so that kind of when, wh word, after, before, that kind of word you will find in the complex sentences. Okay, let's see the next. You must run away at once to escape being caught. You must run away at once to escape being caught. Now, you must run away. It is the one sentence. You must run away at once. Why you must have to run away? Not to be caught. Okay, not to be caught. So this can be our second sentence. So we can say that you must run away at once, and otherwise you will be caught, or else you will be caught. Otherwise you will be caught. You must run away at once, otherwise you will be caught, or else you will be caught. So that kind of sentence you can frame. Okay, let's see the answer. Yes, you must run away at once, otherwise you will be caught. Okay, so this is what simple into compound. Now we'll see the vice versa, that means conversion of the compound to simple sentences. Okay, now here we have the rules that to change the compound into simple sentences, cut short the additional clauses into certain words and phrases using the infinitive, that is to or present participle, ing or past participle. Okay, that kind of things we can do here to frame the simple sentences. From where to? From the compound sentences. Okay, so one thing that we have to look it in our mind, that keep it in our mind, that is we have to cut or short the additional clauses. Now what are the additional clauses which are not that much required? Now two situations are there, two verbs are there, some of it is not that much important. We can cut it into these things. We can either use it with the infinitives, we can either use it with the present participle or the past participle. So we can frame the sentence with the help of by cutting these additional clauses. Let's see the example, then we can get it. He took his hat and set off. He took his hat and set off. Now two things are there. He took his hat and he set off. Two actions are given here, right? Now we can use these things, that is infinitive, present participle or past participle. Now this use of infinitive and present participle, these both techniques works really well when you form compound sentence from a simple sentence. Now look at this. He took his hat and set off. Taking his hat, he set off. We can say so. Taking his hat, he set off. Taking his hat, he set off. We can say so, right? So that would be our answer. Taking his hat, he set off. Now look at this sentence. I have used this taking, but it is the form of the present participle. It's not the verb here. I haven't used it as a verb because I haven't used to be form before this present participle. Second thing is that only one verb is there, that is set off. Okay, so it's just an example of a phrase, that is present participle phrase. So it is the example of we have completely framed it into simple sentences. Let's see the next example. He finished his work and returned home. He finished his work and he returned home. Two actions are there. We can say that having finishing his work, it's bit it doesn't sound it doesn't shoot. So we can say that having finished his work, comma, he returned home. Having finished his work, he returned home. Right? We can frame it with the having also. We can frame it with the ing form of the verb directly, or we can frame it with the having then V2 form. Sorry, V3 form. Next, he not only made a promise, he kept it too. He not only made a promise, but he kept it too. Now two things are there, two actions are there. So what he did, the person did a promise and he kept it too. We can use beside making a promise, beside making a promise, he kept it too. Beside making a promise, he kept it too. As I told you, it is all the exercise of mind. You have to frame. There is no certain technique that you have to use this or you have to use that. But some of the things that you will, if you will keep it in your mind, you will get the question would be easier for you. Okay, let's see the another example. You must work hard or you will not win the first prize. You must work hard or you will not win the first prize. You must work hard, you will not win the first prize. Now we can use this infinitive too here. How? Let's see. You must work hard. Why I have to work hard? To win the first prize. To win the first prize. In order to, the reason, if that kind of expression is there, then we can use these two infinitive. Why should I work hard? To win the first prize. Let's see the answer. Am I right or not? Okay, you must work hard to win the first prize. Okay, next example. Either you must confess your fault or you will be punished. Now either or relative, correlative conjunctions, they are used to frame compound sentences. Okay, either you must confess your fault or you will be punished. So you must confess your fault, you must be punished. Again we can use these two. To escape from the punishment, you must confess your fault. To escape from the punishment, you must confess your fault. You can say so. Okay, let's see. Let's check the answer. To escape punishment, you must confess your fault. Okay, so here in this video we have seen that how we can transform, how we can convert simple sentence into compound or compound into simple. In the next lecture, in the next video, we will see the conversion of compound or complex sentence and vice versa. Thank you for watching. Keep learning.